But nothing more bizarre than the first instance nationally played out. I don't know if it had happened before, but it's the first time I've seen it, of the new overtime rules in college football. I told you this the other day. Was a few weeks ago, saying, I forget which game was going into overtime, was done in 2 overtimes or what have you. I'm like, look out, because it's coming. The new rules that after 2 overtimes, you now have to just go for 2-point conversions, like penalty kicks. Just 2-point conversions from the 3-yard line, keep going. And it was the first ever instance of it, Penn State and Illinois. And I proffer to say that when they cooked this up, the they being those in college football meeting rooms, when they're sitting in their meeting room going over their PowerPoints and their slide rules and the analytics of why we're doing this and we're trying to save time or we're trying to X, Y, and Z, we don't want these long overtime games or what have you, games long enough. They did not think that we would see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, first 5 overtimes go without a single 2-point conversion being converted. That's what happened. And then in the 8th overtime, they both finally converted to force a 9th, in which Penn State didn't get it, but Illinois did, with their backup quarterback, because their initial quarterback on the first missed 2-point conversion had his arm broken in the 3rd overtime, and it ended in the 9th overtime. And as I said, as I tweeted out, it looked like me running my 40-yard dash against myself. I actually even tweeted out a GIF of a boxer throwing a punch, missing, and actually hitting himself. That's what it looked like, that overtime. So bad, and yet I'm so happy that that awful idea fell flat on its face in such spectacular fashion. Dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. Hour 3 coming up. And the number of people that didn't know the rule for overtime that later on tweeted out, wait a minute, 9 overtimes and the final score was only 20-18?
Bad for gamblers.
And it's just like somebody was saying, like, tweet that you know nothing about college football without saying you know nothing about college football. Look, hey, everybody, it's a new rule. Nobody would ever think that in an overtime we're going to stop playing most of football after just 2 overtimes and say, just go for it from the 3-yard line. And again, it would be similar to a penalty kick where you're in PKs. It would be similar to somebody winning it on the 7th try with the first 5 rounds being red dots, red lights. Every penalty kick was missed in the first, second, third, fourth, 5th rounds of penalty kicks. And then both teams make it in the 6th, and then you finally win it in the 7th. That's how awful it was.
Terrible.
And that's the way Penn State loses their 2nd game of the year. And that's how Illinois wins in Penn State after their head coach, Brett Bielema, essentially said into a microphone the week of, yeah, most of our players that I have here aren't worth a damn. That's how crazy ass a finish that was. And I tell you, as you know, with all due respect to LD, the great Larry David, who was here, and he posited that football would be better without kickers. And I had a good time just letting him go, much to apparently the chagrin and dismay of our buddy Pat McAfee. You thought that I should have spoken up or something like that?
Yeah, maybe defend the kickers
I don't know.
a little bit more.
I think I have my branding for the brand hashtag has been out there for many years.
Yeah,
I'm not going to stop Larry's flow by saying I don't agree with you.
You don't interrupt that whatsoever.
It didn't seem like he even admitted at one point, like, why aren't they covering running backs in the flat more often? He even said I didn't know about, like, I'm not going to stop his comedy role.
Right.
But taking kicking, punting, and changing of directions out of overtime for me drives me nuts. But now we're just taking all sorts of football out. Let's just go from the 3-yard line, and then when the first time you see it at a national scale,
terrible.
It's terrible. I love it. Chef's kiss. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.